The following program is brought to you by Arlington Community Media, where we tell your story.
This is ACMi News, recognized nationwide as the first place winner of the 2023 Hometown Media Award for News Access.
Shell casings belonging to a 9mm handgun are found at one of Arlington's schools. This story has been breaking all week. We will have the very latest. A settlement in a 3-year-long case that civil rights lawyers say should have never have happened. We'll tell you who gets what and how things will be changing at the Arlington Police Department. And our ACMi News sports guy is in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl between the 49ers and the Chiefs. Nicholas Antonakis will be breaking everything down for us next. ACMi News starts right now.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered, giving you stories that count from people who care. Reliable, trustworthy, dependable. This is the nationwide award-winning ACMi News.
Shell casings are found in one of Arlington's schools. Hello, I'm James Milan.
And I'm Summer Maxwell. Glad you could join us. Police Chief Julie Flaherty and Superintendent Elizabeth Holman report that Arlington police have now closed the investigation after shell casings were discovered at the Gibbs school at 41 Foster Street. This is what we know. On Wednesday, February 7th at about 9:30 a.m., a staff member at the Gibbs school informed School Resource Officer Brian White that they found 2 casings from a 9mm handgun on the staircase of the main stairwell. As a result, a shelter in place was immediately put into effect. According to police, students and faculty were temporarily asked to shelter in place while canines searched the building. The shelter in place was then lifted at 12:05 p.m. Arlington police beefed up patrols at the school for the remainder of the school day as a precaution. Now we are told that Arlington police connected those casings to a person who had attended an event at the school on February 6th, and that individual fully cooperated with the police. Arlington police determined the casings were dropped by accident and have closed the investigation. No charges will be filed. No word on why those casings were in a school building.
A brief statement from the town this week about a settlement reached with a Somerville resident and Arlington police in what has been described as a cruel racial profiling incident.
That town statement was released Monday, February 5th, and involves a federal civil rights lawsuit on behalf of Donovan Johnson, who, according to his lawyers, was illegally stopped and arrested within view of his Somerville home by the Arlington Police Department 3 years ago. ACMi News Director Jeff Barnes picks up the story from there.
It happened here 3 years ago in the early evening of February 10th, 2021. According to the lawsuit, the Arlington Police Department responded to a call for assistance from Homewood Suites Hotel here in East Arlington regarding a white man known to the hotel and APD for a prior theft. Lawyers for Donovan Johnson, a Mass General Brigham employee, and a person of color say as the APD arrived to investigate, the white male suspect escaped the hotel and then officers gave chase. At that time, Mr. Johnson was walking home from the nearby CVS, according to the lawsuit, and the white man passed Johnson on the sidewalk. Johnson's attorneys go on to say that, quote, despite the APD's active pursuit of a white man, officers suddenly turned their attention to Mr. Johnson, and that they stopped him at gunpoint, forcibly wrestled him to the ground, and proceeded with a wrongful arrest and search. Johnson's pleas to contact his mother and requests to loosen his handcuffs were apparently ignored, and that ultimately APD released him without charges approximately 45 minutes later. Mr. Johnson then sued in federal court, bringing nationwide attention to this particular case. After the February 2021 incident, reports indicate the APD retained the services of an outside licensed private detective to look into the case. The investigation reportedly found no evidence to support a claim of racial profiling or excessive use of force. But Sophia Hall, a deputy litigation director at Lawyers for Civil Rights, had this to say, quote, effective police reform cannot be spearheaded by law enforcement absent community input from those most affected by police mistrust and police misconduct. And she adds, police departments cannot police themselves. As a result of the settlement announced this week on Monday, February 5th, the town will now compensate Mr. Johnson and implement several reforms designed to eradicate racial profiling by APD in the future. The major reforms include the following: mandating annual in-person training for all sworn APD personnel on implicit bias, de-escalation, and cultural competency, hiring a consultant to analyze and recommend reforms to APD's policy against racial profiling, creating a de-escalation policy in the department, and collecting and publicizing law enforcement data, i.e. arrests, stops, traffic stops by race, on the APD's website. Now, on Monday, February 5th, this statement by the town of Arlington in the names of town manager James Feeney and Police Chief Julie Flaherty. Quote, "We are able to confirm the town of Arlington and Mr. Johnson reached a settlement and mutually agreed to bring this matter to a resolution. Unfortunately, because the settlement agreement is confidential, we are unable to legally comment on its contents." The statement continues, "The town of Arlington and its police department remain committed to providing professional, respectful, equitable, and effective services to all. The Arlington Police Department strives to build strong relationships by working directly with residents and community partners to enhance the safety and well-being of the entire community. As an accredited police department, APD continually evaluates its policies and procedures and adopts those that are considered best practices in policing and are in line with 21st century policing." Donovan Johnson, through his attorneys, released this statement: "As I put this haunting experience behind me, I hope that both the individual officers and the department learn from the new training and policy developments we have implemented. This is a nightmare that I will live with, but I am proud that my experience will improve police relations with communities of color and raise awareness about police interactions." So, it appears as though a 3-year-long case that garnered nationwide attention is closed. For ACMi News, I'm Jeff Barnes.
On Wednesday, February 7th, ACMi News contacted town spokeswoman Joan Roman to confirm what is already a matter of public record. She confirms that Donovan Johnson will be receiving $80,000 and the attorneys for civil rights will receive $15,000.
Construction will soon get underway for Majestic Mill Brook, a mixed-use development at 1025 Mass Ave. When complete, the development in Arlington Center will feature 50 condos and 1,700 square feet of retail space. According to the high-profile website, this condominium community is being developed by the Maggiore companies. The 5-story complex will overlook the Millbrook and will feature 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units, with 25% of the units designated as affordable housing. According to High Profile, Majestic Millbrook is expected to be completed by the fall of 2025.
As many of you may have heard, the town of Arlington is applying for a Massachusetts Public Library Construction Program grant and seeking funds to rebuild the Fox Branch Library. As part of our grant application, the town's required to vote to appropriate $150,000 for design and planning. This vote is scheduled for town meeting this spring. And to help that process along, the library team is offering several tours of the Fox. Here's Library Director Anna Litton to explain.
I think as many people know, we're applying for a Massachusetts Public Library Construction Program grant for funds to renovate the Fox Branch Library located at 175 Mass Ave. The Fox Branch Library is a heavily used branch of the Robbins Library. In FY23, we circulated over 120,000 items through that location. That's about 19% of our print circulation happens from Fox. The Fox Branch Library serves kids, teens, and adults. And it's a very popular destination for people in the neighborhood, as well as people coming from further away to attend the wonderful kids programs at Fox, find a quiet place to read. But the library faces serious challenges. The library is not ADA accessible, and anyone using a mobility device is really unable to enter the building or attend any of the lower level programs. The lower level is only accessible via a staircase. So we're really looking forward to bringing improvements to such an important location in East Arlington. We are inviting the community to come into the Fox, learn a little bit about the history and the current use of the building, as well as see the facility so that community members have a better understanding of what the Fox Branch Library is today and what it can be for the future.
Looking forward to it. And the dates are obviously posted on the website.
The
If
dates
they
are
want to
posted.
know more information, where could they go?
The best place to go is the robinslibrary.org page, and the page specifically about the fox is A New Future for the Fox. There are tours scheduled through February, March, and April, and we're so excited to welcome our community members in to see the library.
Again, to see the full schedule of tours and learn more about the grant process for the Fox, just go to the library website, robinslibrary.org. Again, that's robinslibrary.org. Arlington Police and the Middlesex County Sheriff's Office are urging residents to be on the lookout for another round of phone scams. This time, the callers are apparently impersonating law enforcement officials. According to police, in recent weeks, several residents have received calls or voice messages from individuals claiming to be members of the sheriff's office. In some cases, callers are using the names of real MSO personnel and have told individuals to report to a legitimate MSO address to clear up the matter. Police say in one instance this past weekend, a caller falsely told an individual the FBI had a warrant for their arrest. The scammers have sought anywhere from a few $100s to a few $1,000s to clear up the phony matter. So far, none of those reporting the scam calls has reported losing any money. Police say if you receive such a call, hang up and call police immediately at 781-643-1212. Again, the number for the Arlington Police is 781-643-1212.
Have you ever wanted to learn how to take great videos with good lighting and creative camera work? Did you ever wonder how we get our news stories or set up our in-studio interviews? Or would you just like to learn how to tell visual stories? Well, ACMi is your place for one-stop shopping. We will be holding a series of workshops through April all about good visual storytelling. Our staff here at ACMi will teach you everything from basic and advanced camera work to lighting to news ethics and interviewing. Interested? All you have to do is email info@acmi.tv and look for all the workshops we will be doing. Again, that's info@acmi.tv and take your pick of a TV topic. Again, the ACMi TV workshops start in March and we already have people signing up, so we hope to see you there. February 1st marked the beginning of Black History Month in the United States, and in honor of this month, ACMi News will be sharing stories of individuals of color who contributed greatly to the formation of our nation. This week, we feature Crispus Attucks, an American whaler, sailor, and dock worker of African and Native American descent, who is traditionally regarded as the first person killed in what became known as the Boston Massacre, and as a result, the first American killed in our American Revolution.
All that is definitely known about Crispus Attucks is that he was the first to fall during the Boston Massacre on March the 5th, 1770. Crispus Attucks, a man of African and Native American descent, was born into slavery around 1723 near the vicinity of Framingham, Massachusetts. What we know today paints a picture of a young man who showed skills for buying and trading goods. He seemed unafraid of escaping the bonds of slavery and managed to escape, spending his years as a seaman and a rope maker aboard trading ships and whaling vessels coming in and out of Boston's harbor. As British control over the colonies began to tighten, tensions escalated between the colonists and British soldiers, especially in the city of Boston. Seamen like Crispus Attucks constantly lived with the threat they could be forced into the British Navy at any given time. On the evening of March 5, 1770, several Bostonians approached the guard in front of the customs house and began taunting him. The situation quickly escalated. When a contingent of British redcoats came to the defense of their fellow soldier, more angry Bostonians joined the crowd, throwing snowballs and other items at the troops. Attucks was one of those at the front of the fight amid dozens of people, and when the British opened fire, he was the first of 5 men killed. His murder made him the first casualty of the American Revolution. Known as the Boston Massacre, this episode catapulted the colonies towards war with the British, and Attucks quickly became a martyr in the cause of our liberty. His body was transported to Faneuil Hall, where he and the others killed in this attack lie in state. In the years since his death, Crispus Attucks' legacy has continued to endure, first with the American colonists eager to break from British rule, and later among 19th century abolitionists and 20th century civil rights activists. In his 1964 book, Why We Can't Wait, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. lauded Crispus Attucks for his moral courage and his defining role in our collective American history.
Historians agree Attucks was struck twice by musket fire, and that it was the second shot that proved fatal. Crispus Attucks and his undying bravery inspired several generations to take up the call for equality and inclusion, something this nation still struggles to attain in the current era.
Last November the 13th, Arlington International Film Festival took place at the Capitol Theater on Mass Ave. And it was another success, featuring films from the world over and fostering a deep appreciation for different cultures and learning more about the human experience we all share. ACMi received an honoree award from the AIFF, and our news director, Jeff Barnes, emceed the event. The relationship between ACMi and the AIFF goes back more than a decade, and our relationship has just gotten stronger.
"13 years ago, Alberto and April approached me with the idea of supporting them in their endeavor to create a film festival in Arlington. I thought it was a great idea. It was a terrific idea, as a matter of fact. Let's have a film festival. But then they said it was an international film festival. Boggled my mind. But here we are today. They are truly international. Entries from all over the world. More than 1,000 entries all over the world appearing here in Arlington.
The beauty of Arlington International Film Festival is they are all about building community. They work with other communities, they work with other cities and towns, bringing filmmakers together to tell stories, to learn about each other, and then they're taking that same sense of community globally. The humanity of telling stories and sharing stories is something that is very strong with the AIFF.
The word that comes to mind to me is commitment. Commitment is deep and lasting when it comes to what April and Alberto have done in the community. Very hard to quantify. It's not about the number of tickets sold. It's not about the number of movies seen or shown, etc. It's so much more than that. They have really tried to make the filmmakers and film viewing a part of a larger community commitment to the arts. And their schedule runs way beyond the 4 or 5 days of the festival. They are involved in the community in different arts, with different arts organizations, supporting those organizations, supporting the individual filmmakers, of course, but really with a commitment to making this a better community, and they certainly have done that over the years.
They've done a fabulous job, and the result of that is they are known throughout this entire area, even in Boston, the big Boston, the city of Boston. They put Arlington on the map, they put themselves on the map, and I heartily support their endeavors for the future.
Thank you, AIFF, and best of luck in the future, and we hopefully will be along for the ride. Thank you.
You can get the latest on what the festival does year-round by going to their website, aiffest.org/events. Again, that's aiffest.org/events.
And this week, we are celebrating a seminal moment in history. Seminal when it comes to music, fashion, hairstyle, even culture. It's been 60 years since the Beatles shook the world when they performed for the first time in the States on The Ed Sullivan Show on February 9th, 1964. That performance created a seismic shift in the world of music in the 1960s, and its effects are still being felt today. ACMi's Jeff Barnes talked to media personalities Chachi LaPrette and John Logan, who are frequent entertainers at the Regent Theater right here in Arlington, about the profound impact of that February date all those years ago in 1964.
The Beatles!
I think once people start to understand their personalities, and not just their music was different, but how they impacted the world at the time, that's one of the reasons I really enjoy them. You know, of course their music is amazing, but I think it's just the way that they approached life, the way that they were trying to shift perspective about the world and promoting peace and love at a time where everyone was looking for something to look forward to. And also they would just, during the media interviews, they didn't really have a filter on. They were just kind of their goofy selves. I think that's why a lot of people enjoyed the Beatles. It's kind of this perfect Venn diagram in a way, that it was just kind of throwing a dart and they threw it just a bullseye, and everything lined up for them.
What they did in that 8-year span, I mean, they were in Liverpool in '63 when they first came out with their first album, but yeah, what they did in that 8 years is unprecedented even today. What's different back then than it was today, we had no social media. News traveled around the world at its pace. But with the Beatles, even they were able to speed it up. I would travel into Harvard Square from Cambridge to go to the European newspapers to see what was coming. And so what they did without social media, without everything we have today, and manage to blanket the world, become a worldwide phenomenon, it was truly a unique, authentic time that's never been matched ever since. 214 songs within that 8 years of time, and I challenge you to pick two that are alike. I mean, everything is, no one's been able to match it, and that's why we're here 60 years later, celebrating the music. Each one of them unique in their own way, and as John alluded to earlier, they were just so natural, authentically funny, and they believed in themselves. They believed in what they wanted to do. They knew what was bad for their careers and what was good.
LaPrette and Logan will be celebrating the 60th anniversary at the City Winery in Boston and at the Kowloon Restaurant in Saugus this month. And they'll be celebrating everything Beatles at the Regent here in Arlington later this year. For more information on their 60th anniversary shows this year, just go to cometogetherproductions.com. Again, that's cometogetherproductions, one word, .com.
This is, of course, Super Bowl week. Time to cheer on your pick for the Super Bowl winner. We know it's not the Patriots this year, so we must settle for the Niners or Chiefs. But hey, we can still have fun, can't we? Let's get the latest on all the excitement in Las Vegas this week with ACMi sports producer Nick Antonakis, who flew to Vegas to give us his take.
Coming to you from the red carpet at the NFL Honors at Resorts World in Las Vegas, this is Nick Antonakis, the ACMi sports producer. Obviously a huge atmosphere here tonight for the NFL Honors, and what a week it has been for me traveling to Las Vegas to cover Super Bowl Media Week with Emerson. Obviously we had opening night earlier in the week, plentiful of press conferences and other press events that have been an extremely amazing experience for me, and what a great way to cap off all the days that we've had so far with front row seats here on the red carpet for the NFL Honors. Still plenty to come in the week, and I look forward to returning back to Studio A and B in ACMI studios. But for now, from ACMI Sports, I'm Nick Antonakis.
All the way from Vegas, thank you, Nick.
And that'll do it for this week's edition of ACMI News. I'm James Milan.
And I'm Summer Maxwell. Thanks, as always, for joining us. Do you want to see how we put together the newscast here in Arlington? Stop by and pay us a visit right here at 85 Park Ave on Thursday afternoons between 3 and 5 p.m.
And if you have any news tips for us, stay tuned. In just a few seconds, you'll find out how to contact us.
In the meantime, stay warm, Arlington, and we will see you back here next week. Take care.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.